Yes, now, and welcome back to episode 69 of the Top Loaded podcast. And Harry, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not doing too bad. Thanks, Ron. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very happy that it's dropped about 7 degrees. No doubt everyone that's listening to this has thought, God, I thank God it's actually started cooling down because it was too hot. I think everyone was forced inside in the shade looking at their trading cards, which was even better. Unless you was up in Manchester. And how was your lovely little trip last week?
Yeah, it was good, thank you, mate. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was a nice little breakaway.
Rumor has it you was going up to Man City to file 115 charges of financial fair play. So did you actually get arrested while you was up there?
Well, I tried my hardest to try and enforce it, but I'm sure it'll take a lot longer than myself going up to Manchester for a few days. So yeah, we'll have to take it away from that. But I tried my hardest.
Yeah, and I think there's only one place to start this week. And obviously, we brought you a few times a couple of weeks ago as an update. And then there was a massive thing about Voggt versus whatnot. And we was always chasing it. And obviously, today, everyone received an email dead on midday. And I'm going to read the statement for anyone that's following. Obviously, if you received the email, you might see it on Instagram. But we'll talk through. I'm just going to read it out as follows. We regret to inform you that Voggt has made the decision to cease investing resources in the United Kingdom from the 1st of July. This means commercial and marketing spend will be gradually reduced during the first weeks of July to focus our efforts on developing our other core markets in Europe. We'd like to express our sincere gratitude for the trust and support you have shown Voggt over the past years. It has been a pleasure to engage with so many members of the community, both online and at events around the UK. Building the Voggt community in the UK during the past year has been an incredible ride, and the decision is one of the toughest we've had to take. Since the beginning of the company, we've wanted to make the community be appreciated. Basically, just the rest of it's more terms and conditions about if you press on the button, if you're a seller or anything like that, you'll find out. But obviously, it's sad to see that one of the platforms, which is one of the two big platforms in the UK, has ceased trading. There's been speculation over quite a few months that obviously it's been dying down, but whatnot has been dying down as well in terms of pricing. But it is shame to see Voggt obviously having to cease trading. Obviously now, before Fanatics Live and all them launch, it's just whatnot really the only option within the UK.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's definitely a sort of sad sight to see in terms of how diverse the auction sites were in the UK in terms of whatnot and Vogt. It's never nice to see, an application close down and, focus elsewhere other than the UK. Because I know we took quite a few big steps forward when, both platforms released in the UK and started sort of gaining a lot of attention. So yeah, it's definitely sad to see obviously them cease trading and just focusing in Europe and obviously elsewhere. But yeah, it just adds to our point of on the last episode about whatnot becoming a little bit crowded. It is now doubled in terms of sellers on there now, with a lot of people from Voggt already moving over to whatnot since the email was released earlier today. So yeah, like I said, it's not nice to see, and it's another step back to a degree for us in the UK in terms of that almost halving in terms of our auction houses and auction places and different platforms that we can use. But equally then pushes whatnot in terms of we've got a lot more competition now on there that people are going to be having to try different things and look at something that will stand out basically to gain attention. People already have their followings and people already have their sort of returning customers that will always buy into their boxes, buy into their breaks, etc. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next sort of week or two unfolds in terms of the newcomers onto whatnot and how the platform encourages it and how the platform deals with the higher volume coming onto it now. But yeah, overall, obviously, it's sad to see Voggt cease trading within the UK.
Yeah, like I say, I've spent a bit of time with people who have been like breakers and sellers on Voggt. Obviously, we wish them all the best. Obviously, it looks like a lot of them are migrating over to whatnot. Like we say, we wish everyone the best of luck over there. And like I say, competition is not always a bad thing. You got to think now you're going to have an abundance of people breaking different products, so it's going to be quite good for the consumer because everything's going to be at a competitive price. It's not a case of there's just one breaker out there that they can put the premium on because they're the only one with the set. Now you've got quite a few big streamers within the UK who are breaking the same product that some people go down the random one boxes, some go down to PYT, some will go down to PYT/PYPs and then cases, half cases. So there's going to be a big variety of things being broken. Obviously, Topps Chrome's coming out this week, which is going to be a massive one on Whatnot this week. Release date is tomorrow. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, or the Wednesday of this week. So I was going to say it's going to be very interesting to see. And obviously, for us, next week we've got our third episode in the series with LGL Breaks, where we followed him through the whole year. And it's going to be quite interesting talking to an actual breaker who's been on Whatnot since the turn of the year, how he's going to be looking to change maybe his style, or what he's going to do to try and separate himself from the crowd. So definitely recommend everyone tune in for that one next week. But obviously, listening to Whatnot, singles, breaks, everything like that. But there's so much going on. I was looking over in the States at Whatnot the other day just to do a bit of market research, and it's even crazy over there because there's not that much soccer even being broken in America at the moment. Obviously, it's a quiet period. I think everyone knows that. Since the release of Prism and Select, there's not been that much. Obviously, you've got Chrome coming up. You've got Immaculate, Impeccable, Chronicles. So it's going to start ramping up a bit. But how do you think it's going to play out from maybe a consumer perspective on Whatnot in the UK? Do you think it's going to be good for us that we might be able to pick up some better prices? But most importantly, people are going to have to do different stuff, and they can't just do the same thing as everyone else.
Yeah, that's what sort of I mean when I say it's going to be an interesting sort of first few weeks on Whatnot to see how everything unfolds. I think we've got quite a few big products that are going to be released all within a similar time frame. So it's a case of how that works in terms of the breakdown of each team player. The pricing is also going to be a pretty big factor. I know obviously most breakers within the UK tend to keep to a similar price list. But it's thinking, what are you going to do to basically bring viewers onto your stream? What are you going to do to bring viewers to buy into your boxes or cases that's going to in order to diff you from everybody else? Like I said, it's four pretty big products coming up, like we said. Obviously, Chronicles, Impeccable, Immaculate, Chrome. Obviously, we've seen a few glimpses of some of the cards that are going to be released in Chrome. Inevitably it's going to be popular. I mean, we've seen Impeccable and Immaculate are obviously of a higher price bracket in terms of your spots, your teams, your players, and what they would sort of normally go for in breaks and in cases. But with some more affordable like Chrome and Chronicles, it's just how it's going to unfold. I think it'll be popular regardless, and you're going to have a massive wide variety of breakers that will be breaking the same products, whether that be one box, two box, three box cases, two cases, whatever. And it's just going to be, I guess, what is going to differentiate them all from each other: prices, how they're going to do it, the layout, timings, etc. So I think it's going to be interesting to see when the products do get released and how it all unfolds. I have no doubt it's going to be a success. I have no doubt it's going to be popular within the UK and within the scene, and not much is going to change. It's just going to be a case of how potentially some of the smaller breakers or the breakers that are still new onto Whatnot don't necessarily have a massive following, how they compete with some of the bigger names already in the UK and people that already have a well-established following / group of people that will always buy into breaks and sort of loyal to them breakers. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Also, we've got big product releases and some of all different price ranges. So it's just going to be a case of how it all unfolds and what's going to be different from each breaker. But we've seen a lot of big names already moving over to Whatnot just in the last 12 hours. So it's definitely going to be interesting, but I can't see it being anything too drastic or too negative for your average consumer anyway, let alone obviously breakers may be a different story just due to volume of competition.
Yeah, and I think no doubt the guys moving from Voggt over to Whatnot are going to get used to the so-called loot goblins on the giveaway goblins on Whatnot, having like 40 plus going in for 5 seconds, entering the giveaway, and then going. So, like I said, I don't know if that was the same as on Voggt, but like I say, it's going to be interesting to see how they stabilize with it. Do they change their own game to fit Whatnot? Does Whatnot other people Whatnot change there? So it's going to be very intriguing. Obviously, something we'll monitor closely, and obviously talking about LGL next week, it'd be interesting to hear from Breaker's perspective himself. And moving on, obviously, like we said, we just briefly talk about new products. Obviously, this week is Topps Chrome release week. Another great set. 33 different teams are within it, which is fantastic. Obviously, now it's not just Champions League Chrome as it has been in previous years. It's now obviously UEFA club competition, so that involves Champions League, Europa League, and UEFA Conference League. So everything from obviously Man City, the winners of the Champions League. You got obviously West Ham in it, obviously for winning the Conference League. So it's going to be another great release. Obviously, people compare it to first edition and the paper-based. Checklists are very similar, but they are a bit different. There's a few players added into the base checklist. I know Arsenal got a couple of other ones, but obviously Chrome is one of the stable, probably one of the most look forward to releases of the Topps calendar. So it's going to be an interesting release. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but they put out quite a lot of pictures. So if anyone hasn't seen it, obviously by the time you listen to this, it might already be out and you've seen breaks and everything like that. But if you are listening to it on the Tuesday, if you head over to the Topps UK Instagram or Twitter, they have all the sample images of all the cards, and some of them are looking really good. Obviously, you have the introduction of dual autos and triple autos. There you go, perfectly on cue. As
If you are viewing it on a video on the podcast, you should be able to see that I'm holding up a preview from Topps UK's Instagram page that they released earlier today, which is a triple auto from Messi, Ronaldo, and Haaland, which looks incredible.
Yeah, like I say, it's going to be quite an intriguing one, that one, because if someone's doing a pick your player or pick your team, and someone's got Man City, someone's got Real Madrid, and someone's got Barcelona, some people are going to be shaking in their boots if it goes to a random spin for that one. So it's going to be interesting to see it. Obviously, auto checklist, there's always an abundance. Obviously, some good, some not too good. But overall, are you looking forward to it, H? Another year of Topps, and obviously now, lucky enough for us, but similar to West Ham supporters and stuff, teams like that, they're in Chrome this year. All right, it might not have the Champions League logo, but you're still in Chrome.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally just seen on Twitter now, there's a few cards that have already been pulled and broken. When you've got a Wonder Kid Garnacho that's been pulled already, an auto, which obviously is a rookie card. You've got a triple auto, Lewandowski, Neymar, and Vinicius Jr. that's been pulled already again on Twitter there. So it's interesting to see some cards that have already been pulled. But I mean, yeah, Topps Chrome is always one of the biggest releases and one of the most popular sets. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Definitely looking forward to it. From some of the previews that Topps have put out already, there looks to be some big cards on in the checklist. So yeah, you can't really argue with Topps Chrome. It's pretty one of sort of the highly rated sets across the hobby, yeah, if you ask me. So I'm looking forward to release. Looking forward to watching a few breaks, seeing some I no doubt big cards being pulled on release day. So yeah, it's definitely going to be good to watch. And yeah, looking forward to seeing some of the polls. And hopefully we'll be keeping an eye out for any Arsenal spots or cards that come up.
Yeah, like I say, we'll always keep our eyes out for them. But obviously another release coming up very soon, and the checklist has been released for this one. And funny enough, it's a double release day for anyone who didn't know on this Wednesday. Obviously, Topps Chrome is coming out, but also Panini Immaculate. And obviously, Panini Immaculate is one of the higher end sets. So whereas you might be looking around, obviously, I haven't looked at the retail price of Chrome, but it's normally in the 200 to 300 area. Immaculate, you're looking 1,000 plus. So it's a much harder to hit set, especially if you're buying into breaks. Always keep that in mind. Checklist is out. We're not going to do a massive look for it. Obviously, a lot of the pictures have been out for quite a while now, but every box on average, I think, comes with 5 autograph cards or memorabilia cards. It does feature like a similar 200 base checklist as usual, but there's some lovely autos in there, and it's another set that there's so much to hit that it's near enough impossible if you're buying into a break that you're going to hit something. But Immaculate's one of them that either people love it or hate it. I quite like the thicker card stock. It does help for me that Granite Xhaka's got a base card. But overall, Immaculate's quite a fun one. I actually enjoy watching the breaks more than I actually enjoy entering in them ones. Because if you're buying into like a hobby, you've got a good chance of hitting like a silver or a numbered card. Whereas Immaculate, there's hardly any chance. So do you or on the side of watching the Immaculate breaks and then just picking up the singles if and when they come up for a reasonable price on the secondary market?
100%. 100%. I mean, I will speak on my behalf. I won't speak on the rest of the hobby's behalf or anything like that. But I mean, the price point and some of the breaks in Immaculate and Impeccable is just, for me, far too out of any form of price range that I can ever justify a spot in a break where you're not guaranteed necessarily a hit, let alone a hit that's going to gain some form of money back or satisfaction of the money you spent on a spot. So I'm definitely one of the people that will pick up Immaculate on the secondary market once it's been broken, released, resold, and the market has dropped significantly. Probably going to be at least a month or two after release that I'll probably start even contemplating looking across eBay and other platforms to try and locate some of the Arsenal Immaculate cards. But I mean, just flicking through the checklist, there's some fantastic cards on there. Obviously, the United States women's team. They've got some players on there from the Immaculate checklist, but you've got some big names in the patches, the autos. I mean, you've got some fantastic dual autos again. And obviously the typical sort of legends you're going to get in the booklet. So obviously the booklet checklist is out. Obviously, much to our delight, Henri is the Arsenal booklet. But yeah, I mean, you've got some fun. I mean, you've got Patrice Evra in a booklet for Juventus, which obviously is one you don't see very often. Drogba. I know we spoke about Drogba before until he didn't have much product within the hobby. So yeah, there's some big names on the checklist and some new ones as well that you're going to be interested to see. But I mean, the booklets just are. I mean, from the picture preview, they look fantastic. We know from previous years they're a massive hit. So yeah, looking forward to watching some breaks and seeing some of the products that get released, and yeah, how the cards are looking, but more importantly, how the QC control is looking as well.
Yeah, and I think the main thing I always stress when I talk to people about Immaculate and potentially people that have never been in an Immaculate break, please do check the checklist before you buy a spot, because there's some cards that are only 1 of 1s or to 2s, to 3s, to 5s. There'll be player breaks going and there'll be a spot for maybe 20 quid, and there's only literally 5 of them cards in the world. And that's not even like there's a base, there's an auto. It's just 5 of that one auto. So I always do stress, do please check the checklist, because it's one of them that it's a very sporadic number. And you, within the same set of autographs, you can have one what's numbered to 200, one that's only 1 of 1. You got, so please do check it out. Like I say, it'd be another one that we look to in the future just to see how the prices are doing, what the actual cards look like. Because until you see them being broken, like you say, QC, hit rates, how they're packaged. I know with Immaculate, it's quite good because they come within the tin. I've got one just over to my left there. They come over the tin, so people can weigh them for the booklets, but it's a lot less common because most of the time they do put fillers in there. But I say that's quite it's going to be quite an interesting 3 to 4 weeks for the soccer side of it. And obviously, another thing that we're going to try and do a bit more within the podcast, obviously, talk about the world of sports. Obviously, F1 had a week off this week, and we're waiting for some sort of release from F1, which is not tops now. It's been a very quiet period for that one, even though I know someone in this call has picked up a beautiful F1 car, which we will talk about another time. But there's one big talking point, I think, from the world of sport. For people who don't know basketball, a lot of people will know this name when I do say him in a minute, because he's a freak, or he's 7'5" and can run. I'm 6'3" and I can't run, so good luck to him. But obviously, Victor Wembanyama, young French kid, was drafted number 1 by the San Antonio Spurs. And for people who don't understand, like the NBA, NFL, any of the American sports draft system, the top talents all go into a pool. And then depending on a lottery system and performances in previous years and trades, you're allocated a spot. So the San Antonio Spurs were elected number 1. And this kid from France is arguably the biggest prospect since LeBron James. So you got to think, in over 20 years, this guy is going to be the number 1 prospect. And people are going mad for his stuff at the moment. He's in Bowman Chrome, which is for basically French college, and it's all the up-and-coming young players. So that's not any of his actual licensed stuff yet from the NBA. So it's going to be mental next year. This is going to be a craze that I would suggest anyone to look into if you're going to be into cards. Obviously, we're not expecting any of his hobby releases for quite a while yet. NBA season's only just finished. Denver Nuggets won that. So it's going to be very interesting when then sets do roll out to the tail end of 2023, early end of 2024. But it's going to be mental. And I know Harry, for one, has not got the biggest idea about basketball, but it's incredible. It's like, for example, someone basically being quoted to be the next Messi, guaranteed. And you can imagine how much he would be in spots. It's like, look at George Russell when he was
at Saka.
Well, yeah, we can talk about Saka. It's just completely different, the old NBA world. But yeah, it's going to be a great one to watch, especially for people who are interested in basketball. Everyone's been following him. Never before have the NBA actually live streamed French games on their actual app. They've been doing that this year. That's how much hype is around this guy. And a funny video for everyone to watch. If you watch his first shoot around as a San Antonio Spurs player, He missed every single shot. So interesting. But because he's 7'5", he goes on tiptoes and dunks it. So he doesn't have to jump to dunk it. So it's going to be great to watch. And moving over to another American sport, obviously NFL is not in it, but we're talking about MLB now, obviously Major League Baseball. And that actually made a return to the UK the first time since COVID at the London Stadium, obviously in London in Stratford. And there's quite an interesting thing. Obviously, the baseball card world has always been the biggest one over a period of time, especially looking back into the 50s, 60s. Obviously, your likes of Babe Ruth, Modest Wagner, I can name tons and tons and tons. Mickey Mantle, obviously, is the one that a lot of people know. I went to the last London games when they done it. I think it was in 2019. And Topps are very active with that because it's obviously getting into the American spirit. Panini do it somewhat for the NFL, but not as much. But there was like a special series of cards being handed out where you could pick them up, and it was a special one for the two teams with special versions, and you can get your own card. So it's good to see, H, that like Topps have a hands-on effect of like that, trying to attract new people to the hobby within the UK scene. But would you like to see that maybe at other sporting venues as well, rather than just the baseball? Because they have licensing for like the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. It'd be quite cool to see them maybe outside one of them games handing out free cards or custom card sets. Would be quite cool.
Yeah, I think we've obviously we saw it in the F1. I know obviously Topps have quite a big presence in some of the races. I know in Miami, they released like their own special Topps card specific to the race weekend, which is people have then got graded, tried to collect the whole set, which I think obviously is pretty cool. It's like a what's the word? Like a memento, obviously from the weekend, having specific cards based from the Miami Grand Prix. I know I'm pretty sure they were at Silverstone as well last year as well. Obviously there as a standard setup, but they also were giving out free cards and some of the massive Turbo Attacks cards, which obviously, again, it just has a presence there where it attracts people into the hobby that necessarily didn't know too much about it prior to that. But also, I guess, increases just the knowledge around the hobby and around Topps and around some of the sets that are released at these specific F1 races. So if you introduce that to the Champions League final, I know obviously the way F1 works is very much, it's pretty chill, walk around the track, etc., as opposed to football where people are in, drinks, seat, game, go. There's not too much freedom to a degree. But I know if you were to set up a top stand, on the outskirts of the stadium and people walking past it on the way through, I think it'd be pretty cool to see, specific sort of Champions League final cards, like Topps Now cards. If you like certain print run, they're giving them out at the Champions League final, Europa League final, Conference League final, whatever that may be. I think it'd be cool to see Topps have a presence there where they're so heavily, like you saw at the MLB in London, like they have been at F1 races. It'd be pretty cool to see that transpired into football and seeing them at certain, even at Wembley for like, the FA Cup final or playoffs, anything like that, where these games are at these big, like ends, quite like sort of knockouts, at Wembley, etc. It'd be pretty cool to see Topps have a name for themselves there. But like I said, I think Topps is already pretty renowned within football, and for the sets that release that. So, but you see how popular it is at the F1 races. You see how popular it was at MLB. I'm sure if you guys follow Topps or Topps UK on Instagram, you probably would have seen their stories from the last couple of days. So, it'd be good to see them have a presence at some big sporting events within football, and seeing what they can then come up with in any specific part to that event, and seeing how that can transpire from there. But it's definitely food for thought, and hopefully we see Topps attend some of these events within the near future.
Yeah, and obviously that's the perfect interlude into my other thing. Last Wednesday, Topps did tweet out the following. Topps UEFA Club Competition Showtime starts its European tour this Saturday at the Hamburg Card Show. This show exclusive product will only be available at card shows/events. Be quick to get to the Topps stand. If you're attending these shows, there'll be limited content available. So they have released a exclusive set only to go at 6 shows, which are the following. The Hamburg show, which was the week prior. So if you do look on eBay, especially Germany, there's some popping up there. You've got Scotland Card Show this weekend up in Edinburgh. We're there both days. Battle of the Socials, which is back in Germany. Obviously, London Card Show, the 5th and the 6th of August. Frankfurt Card Show, which is 2nd September. And then the Nordic Card Show, the 9th and 10th. Obviously, there's been no checklist released that I have seen so far for this one, especially because it's an in-person product. It's not going on their website. So it's another great thing to see, actually, that they're going to be doing product only for shows that people going to get a chance to get exclusive things in the demonstration pictures. There's a Haaland auto, for example, and I'm guessing it's going to be similar to like your custom on-demand sets. That it's probably going to be 2 numbered per box. I'm guessing this is not concrete. 2 numbered per box, and maybe 1 in 5 chance of an auto. So this is great to see that they're giving exclusive rights. People go to card shows to get a product that they know won't be botted because you've got to actually pick it up and buy it in person as well. So another good step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's top tier that also they're going to release these certain sort of this certain product in only at certain card shows. I mean, it's massive for Harry, obviously, at London to be one of those listed. And obviously we'll be there that weekend as well. So I think it's a whole different aspect. And also they released the raffle system recently on Topps website in terms of new products, which seems to be going down pretty well. But to now add in the point of it being a show exclusive product where you can only pick this certain product up at certain shows. It has that bit more of a exclusivity, if you like, where if you attend these shows, you can pick up one of these boxes. I don't know how much stock they're going to take to these shows, how quickly they'll sell out. I assume it'll be 1 per customer, maybe, or what the actual T's and C's of it will be. But I think it's a pretty cool exclusivity to have to these 6 shows that like we're the only 6 shows you can actually buy these boxes. No doubt there'll be retail on eBay, on Instagram, wherever after the shows, people have bought a box, bought 2 boxes, whatever they may be, and then trying to resell them on as this exclusive product, show only product. But I think it's a pretty cool idea, and something you can see potentially like some of these shows where they're doing exclusive breaks of these exclusive show products at this exclusive show. I'll say exclusive one more time. But I think it's just a pretty cool idea, and it definitely attracts a lot of attention to it. Also, hopefully we'll find out more and be able to discuss it more when the checklist is released, or we know a little bit more about it. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool idea, to be honest with you. It eliminates the whole bots, the whole raffle. It's just simply, if you were there at the show, the products will be there. It's the only place you can buy it are these said 6 shows, which I think is a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It reminded me when they first done the Tops Now for the first one at Sandown. I think it's a great thing to, like you said before, the MLB at London. It's a good momentum of the day as well. And what everyone has that urge to rip something. And my guess, like I say, if people are going to the Scotland Card Show, please do let us know the price point and how you do in the sets, because obviously they will be available this Saturday and Sunday in Scotland. So let us know, because we're very intrigued. I think we probably might pick up one between us at the London Card Show and just rip it to see what it's like.
It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think you got really got to now, haven't we? Now we've said it, even just split one. It's just a nice release. So really look forward to that one. And like I say, it's another thing for people going to shows to get to remember the day by. And if you can hit autos as well while you're there, there could even be quite a good idea for any of you YouTubers out there. Maybe buy a box of that and try and trade up whatever you get in it to another card. It could be good content as well for people at the shows. No doubt there'll probably be top stage. They'll probably be ripping a few of them, maybe giving away some of the cards as well. So it's another thing to look forward to. Obviously, if you're going to Scotland Card Show this weekend, we hope you have a great time, and we look forward to seeing all the pictures from it, videos, and obviously everyone who else was also nominated for an award. Wish everyone the best of luck at the shows. Voting does close tomorrow as this comes out of the Wednesday, so it's Chrome release day, Immaculate release day, and obviously the UK Sports Card Awards closing. So make sure you do get your votes in. But I say it's quite a lot going on this week for a bit more of a quiet one. But it just shows you that the hobby is slowly peaking out. It wants to emerge again with these releases. And like I say, now it's the countdown as well. Pre-seasons are starting again either this week or next week. The signings of the windows are really starting to ramp up now. A lot of the interest. You've got rumours now of Mbappe potentially joining Real Madrid, which would be very intriguing for his card prices. Unless, if I was him, I'll just stick it out there for another year and probably get 100 million for myself signing on bonus at Real Madrid. But there's a load of transfers that are going to happen. So it's going to be intriguing next couple of weeks. And obviously, talking about acquisitions and transfers, obviously, transfer window is open for our PCs. I can tell you right now, I've only picked up 1 card. But, H, have you picked up anything in the last week?
Yeah. I've been a bit of a busy boy, to be fair. First pickup, I should say plural pickups, was on Instagram. I actually picked up three cards from this Instagram account, which I will get the name up now so I can give him a quick shout out. It was my_Arsenal_collectibles, which was Mike over in Hong Kong. So I actually picked up two more camos to add to the select camo collection, which was Ramsdale and Gabriel. Two camos from that, and then one that I've been after for a little while. Player wasn't really too fussed about. I'll take it because he's got a cool song. But it was the snakeskin. So I picked up the Eddie Nketiah snakeskin as well. Only one recorded sale ever of the snakeskin, and I think he did me a very, very, very good price. So I was very grateful for the deal, and that is currently en route over to me in the UK. So yeah, two camos and obviously an Nketiah snakeskin, which will be on its way straight to PSA as that comes into hand. So very excited to see what the snakeskin look like in person. I know I've been a massive fan, obviously, of Tiger Prism and obviously the Zebra from Select. So really excited to see what the snakeskin looks like in person. So that was my first deal I was very happy with. And then the second one, which is probably one of my favorite pickups within the last 6 months, I could probably easily say. So for those of you, I'm sure who know me, I'm a massive Gunther Steiner fan. I've been looking to pick up one of his dynasties. Wasn't really overly fussed on what year it was. Obviously, 2020 would have been lovely, being the rookie year, first year dynasty. Been looking at a couple of 2021, 2022s recently, until a 2020 popped up on an auction. So obviously I saw it with 6 days left. I thought, yeah, cool. Sound, I'll keep my eyes on that. Popped my max bid on of $100. I thought, yeah, cool. That's going to go flying past that after 24 hours. No way. I am now the proud owner of a 2020 Gunther Steiner Dynasty for $95. Yeah, which I thought was quite frankly unbelievable. I know obviously principals don't go for as much as the drivers do, but you know Gunther Steiner's sort of popularity in the hobby, given Drive to Survive, and you know the nature of his character. So to get a 2020 Dynasty for under $100, I thought was just absolutely bonkers. And if you guys are on watching a video, I'll put a picture up on the screen now of what the Dynasty looks like. So it's the jumbo patch auto to 10, and also you've got the TIO in the patch, which is off from the sleeve of his shirt from the 2020 season. So yeah, absolutely stoked to have won that on the auction, and literally just said for $95. So it's like equates to like £79 for us. Is just ridiculous. So yeah, that is along with the Nketiah snakeskin will be going straight off to PSA. I'll be interested to hear your guys' views, and I've spoken to a couple of people about it already that had different opinions. One has said obviously he loves to keep the dynasties in the mags, obviously with their dynasty sticker. My personal opinion, I said I wanted to send it off to PSA. Just unsure whether to authenticate it and grade the auto or grade the cards and the auto as well. So I've had a few different opinions from people, and I think it's definitely going to go off to PSA. It's just I think depending on the condition when the card arrives as to whether I authenticate it or grade the card as well. But it'll be PC regardless. That is not going anywhere. First year dynasty, Gunther Steiner, jumbo patch auto. So yeah, I was absolutely buzzing when that auction come through. And I was on the phone to you as I was driving when the auction was finishing. So yeah, was buzzing to have picked that up. So yeah, I think all round two pretty big pickups from within the last week. So very much looking forward to having those in hand, also showing you guys properly in the flesh when they arrive.
Yeah, I would say that's set a high standard now, haven't you? I think now we're going to have to put a little disclaimer like they do at the end of adverts. Now HGA cards cannot buy anything to the London Card Show. Terms and conditions now apply.
No, that is what's going to happen. That is it now until London. If anyone has any deals, don't message me. Don't tempt me, please.
So yeah, if anyone needs anything from him, he'll see at the London Card Show. Bring it with you there if you want a chance at a deal. But no, like I say, is that you can't. There's sometimes we've said it multiple times on here and in person. There's sometimes deals that you can't just pass up on, and they are two of the occasions, especially the Gunther. The odds of ever picking up less than $100, even £100, is very minimal. So is a great one. Like I say, I can't wait to see that in person as well. And obviously, it's going to be quite interesting as well. We're going to London with that card, listening to people's opinions there, whether to grade it, not to grade it, keep it slab, keep it mad, whatever it's going to be. It's going to be quite intriguing. And I'm going to have my one boring pickup. So I only made one pickup this week, which was a Tiger Granite Xhaka from World Cup Prism. Been looking for a Tiger. I recently picked up the zebra, so going for the whole zoo now. So I thought, because I had the zebra in Arsenal, I thought I might go for the tiger in the Swiss kit. I quite like the World Cup Prism set. I think it's quite an iconic set, like we always say, World Cup Prism. So that was my only pickup of this week. I think I got it for around the 12, 13 quid area, which can't go wrong for short print World Cup card. So yeah, it's been quite a good pickup for weeks. Obviously, we don't have them in hand at the moment, but they will be coming very soon. As well, there's probably other bits between now and next week. But obviously, next week we are joined by Mr. LGL Breaks for the part 3 of the series of beginning to be a streamer. So if you haven't already, obviously, if you go back in, I think it's every about 12 episodes he appears. I think it's 58 and 46. I think are the other ones he's been on. Do give him a listen because it's quite intriguing to see the development within a breaker, obviously starting out to now. So do recommend checking out the previous episodes. And I would say thank you again for the continued support on the podcast, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or any other places where you can find the podcast. The support has been crazy. And like we say, we are planning to make things bigger and better as they ever are at the Top Low Podcast, and making just things so it's not just all soccer, but American sports, motor racing, anything within the card world, and a bit of Pokemon, but that's not for me. We might have to bring on like a part-time special guest to talk about that. But like I say, thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining us yet again on episode 69 of the Top Loading Podcast. Hope everyone out there is buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. But most importantly, until next time, happy hobbying and good night.